Even the very pretty. As you can imagine, because I'm being audited because I did not pay all of my taxes, I'm very broke right now. So I'm actually going to use this as like not as much of a stand-up set and more of like an incubator for a pitch that I'm going in with. I am broke. I rented a U-Haul and it drained my bank account. I am hungry. This is my last chance. I want to be the next artistic director of the Tom of Finland brand because I think that we could make it a lot more relevant today. I hate to be the person that's like problematizing Tom of Finland, but problematizing Tom of Finland. So what is Tom of Finland is it started out as one artist, but now it's kind of like an artistic movement where someone would draw like very buff gay men. They were like, what if there was a gay man and he just like pumped himself full of silicone before we knew how to do that? It was also before we had most major vaccines, so it was like kind of a medical mystery why they looked like this in the drawings. So they're kind of like this. As you can see, they're all like hyper masculine and like it correlated with their jobs. Like their job over there on the right is wearing leather. He in the middle is a policeman with a nip slip. Which, like, what? And then these people behind me, I couldn't get the full drawing, but they're loggers. So I'm gonna move. They're loggers, and there's a logger behind this logger, so he's like going down the log, and there's another logger like, oh, I'm gonna fuck you in the ass. Chasing him on another log, it's really weird. But I was like, well, like, what would the Tom of Finland men look like today? Because I'm like, I don't really want to fuck them. So I made like a mock-up. That's Dog the Bounty Hunter. Like, I'm right. You know? And it's because we have all of these new conceptions of masculinity that I'm like, I'm sorry, like, I don't want to fuck this. Like, I don't want to fuck someone who wears American flag clothing casually. I don't want to fuck someone who can't button his shirt all the way up. I don't want to fuck someone who's going to be, like, all mask for masky. Like, Tom of Finland came into play before Grindr, but if they did have Grindr, I imagine that this is what their Grindr bio would look like. Looking for someone masculine, meaning someone who won't set off the neighborhood dogs with his high-pitched moaning while we're going at it. Let's watch Drag Race, not that kind. I'm vaccinated because, like, okay, we'll go back. Like, come on. Like, come on. Okay, so this is a short timeline for how we got here. For like, there's so many ways to be masculine, to present your gender, and there's a very short timeline that I have isolated, and it's science. So starting in the early 2000s, we have metrosexuality, where men learn that they can shower and they can wear bright clothes, just like women. You have been with some unshowered men. And I can tell, because you're laughing really hard, and sister, I've been there. Okay, so then we have lumber sexuality, where we were like, okay, so like, we don't want men who will just like take us and discard us. Like, we want a man who's going to like cradle us like the deer that he like fucking saved off the road. I don't know. But like, do you get it? Yeah. And then we have men who paint their nails. The 2020s. It's not just for girls. So I also think that because the Tom of Finland men are so defined by their jobs, I would pitch some jobs for like today's men that like the rugged everymen that we want to just bone. So introducing the new men of Tom of Finland. Yes, the mock-ups are approved. Google Drive, and that's what I use to write second-person erotic fan fiction about the men who work these jobs. Okay. You put your order for a burrito in a while ago, and the driver is almost to your house. He's been taking a while, but you don't mind. You cut him some slack because his profile picture is just so damn sexy. He's got a chiseled jaw stubbled with some sexy dark peach fuzz and a barrel of a neck that can only be connected to a body that's just as buff. But you can't tell for sure since everything outside of your circular insight into his appearance through his profile photo is still left to the imagination. You want your burrito and his. He pulls up his car, a Volkswagen Passat, the everyman's car. And this sculpted everyman hops out with your food. The plastic bag adorned with generic red thank yous and styrofoam container is a pitiful challenge for his arms, barely working his biceps, and certainly not his triceps. Next time you'll order more food just to watch his muscles bulge as he trudges up your walkway. Then you'll pull him inside and the two of you will make love as a sweaty pair. Him from carrying the food and you from watching him carry the food. But for now, he has gone off to deliver more orders and can only remain as an Adonis in your memory. Okay, up next is, the male nurse. You're waiting in an examination room to be seen at the hospital for a routine checkup. The leather checkup bench is cold on your exposed buttocks that is uncovered by your paper gown, and you feel prone. The nervousness turns to invigoration when your nurse walks in. His muscular body is barely contained by his scrubs. They sit on him skin tight, barely clutching the circumference of his arms and thighs. They show everything, from each ropey muscle to his nipples, molding him into a turquoise study of the male figure. You gasp and swallow. He looks nervous at this because it could be a sign of a respiratory infection. You assure him that you are breathing just fine, but he puts a massive hand on the small of your back to feel how well your breath is flowing. His palm is nearly the size of your latissimus dorsi. The room doesn't feel so cold anymore while you're in his arms. You're about to ask him for a prostate exam. Okay, and lastly, and like the most buckle.
Yeah.
A barista, come on now. A sexy archetypal everyman stands behind the counter of the coffee bar. He wears a button-up flannel shirt that is nearly bursting at the sides from his massive pectorals. His masculinity has a softness to it, defined by a focused concentration to the craft of latte art instead of something brash like rugby or a car. Though he is also very well built. You already know that you are going to change your choice of milk for your latte a few times just to watch him pick up the heavy cartons and put them back down. His button may burst from the physical exertion you're about to put him through, and that is the point. His hands are strong. They could probably grind the coffee beans from a single clap in his palms. His body ripples underneath the shirt as he moves from the espresso machine to the cold brew tap. You want him to wrap his hands around you like he does the little espresso cup that he is currently filling for you. You're about to spill it down the front of his shirt for a chance to see that delicious torso. Okay, thank you guys so much. And if you feel like funding this project / the Robert Dunner finally pays off his taxes fund, see me in the lobby afterwards. Thank you so much.